Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Lance Scurv Show. We have Dr. V. Issa White, and he, or PhD, and you know him well. Dr. V. Issa, your screen seems to be a little frozen. Let me see a little movement if possible. And we're going to speak about, let's just say, World War III, Israel, United States, Iran. What does it mean for Black people? Dr. V. Issa, if you can log out and come back in, I think that's the problem with the screen. Yes, he's going to come back in. And, okay, there it is. Beautiful. Yes, beautiful, beautiful. Yes, I was just about to say you need to buy his book, Blacklisted. It's chock full of what happens to one when they speak truth. And as long as I've known Dr. V. Issa White, he's been a truth teller. And that's why every time we have a show, every time we have a conversation, casual, on a topic, it's always a pleasure. And I come through out of it wiser. I want to thank you for that, brother, because the years are accumulating on how long we've known each other. And I'm proud. You've been consistent, a warrior. And I remember meeting you at the trial after the during the Trayvon Martin situation. What's the knucklehead's name that shot him? That was there at the trial for him, and that's when we met.
Zimmerman. Zimmerman was it?
Yeah, Zimmerman. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, and I've been stuck to you ever since. You never let me down. You're a real one. Thank you so much. But today the title of the show is Israel and USA Begin War with Iran. What does this mean to the Black world? You know, people try to separate themselves. The melanated people of the world, they try to separate themselves. Well, that has nothing to do with me. It will affect us in a great way, even though some will say we have nothing to do with it. It will affect us. And it will affect the motherland. It will affect all of us all over the world. So we can't separate ourselves from that in ways that we are not even aware of. Brother, if you can, educate us on how this war will affect us, the Black world.
Well, first of all, Brother Lance, thank you for allowing me again to be on your platform.
Thank you, brother.
You are a legend, being able to get the message out from Central Florida. Now you're getting the message out from West Africa. You made that transition smoother than anyone I ever met. And we thank God for you. Yes, in reference to my manuscript, The Blacklisted, The Price for Speaking Truth. You know, I have several books, and this was the most difficult one to publish. I have 6 books. One is a bestseller.
Mm-hmm.
But publishers were running from this one because, again, when you begin to hit truth, the Quran says falsehood vanishes, it runs away. So they didn't want this piece to be published. And this piece is the only piece in the United States, maybe in the world, that gives you an outline, an argument, and an analysis of how the United States has become a country of voiceless beings, meaning that if you speak a narrative that contradicts the standard narrative, if it's coming from the Republicans or the Democrats, you will be silenced. You may lose your job, your business, your home, your family, your livelihood, perhaps even your life, your freedoms. That's where we are now. But the topic at hand tonight is the coming war. We see that the United States and Israel has staged a war against Iran, and Iran said they're going to fight back. The question is that, what does this mean to the Black world? And what is the Black world? The Black world is, of course, people in the United States and throughout the Americas, Black people in Europe, Black people in the Middle East, and of course, Africans, the homeland of our ancestors. First, we want to look at the fact that the question is, why is the United States and Israel into this conflict? Of course, the obvious statement or the obvious answer is because, one, they don't like Iran, and they say that they don't want Iran to have nuclear weapons. The reality is that the United States is in the business of having a hegemony. A hegemony, a world hegemony, means that the United States wants to control the world, put things in a perspective that everyone follows their influence and their dynamic. That's what the larger story is. And with this hegemony, they see that there are various sectors in the world that's going to be under attack and is going to be the staging point so that their hegemony can be in effect. I give you a case and point, an example. First, we have the Ukraine-Russian war. Really a war that started actually in 2015 with the Minsk Agreement. And the United States going against the agreement that they had with the former Soviet Union, i.e., Russia, that they would not expand NATO and would not go across certain territory. Well, the United States thought Russia was weak and vulnerable, so they're going to do it anyway. The concept is that the United States has always wanted to divide and to splinter Russia so that Russia will cease to be a powerful country to fight against American hegemony in the Eastern world, Eastern Europe, and in the Western Europe. So they said, we got to break it up. In fact, they've been working on this plan since the 1960s, to be honest about it. So when they thought they had it, they allowed Ukraine, that was giving billions of dollars of weapons and training, to invade. Well, Russia pushed back. That's one level. A second level is the attack on BRICS. BRICS is the organization that is really countering the G7. Who are the BRICS nations? Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. They were the founders. Now BRICS having membership well over 45 members, and their membership represents the majority of the population on Earth. Their membership represents over 54% of the natural resources on Earth. So they have become a dominant power. And they're saying that we're going to push back. There's not going to be one country and one society that's going to rule the world. The United States is very upset with this. They stated that, well, we're going to sanction countries that are part of BRICS. We're going to make it difficult for them to respond and to be proactive for what they want. BRICS stated, we don't care what you do. We're going to do what's best for us. And one of the first things they said, BRICS, we're going to utilize our own currency or another currency outside the American dollar for currency trading in the world. What that means that the American economy, as the stock market, is going to be hit hard, because what makes the American strong, the economic strength, is how we're able to push our currency throughout the world and have people pay us for services that they really don't need. Very interesting with this. So that was a hegemony. They're pushing back. That's the second level in BRICS. The third level is, well, what is taking place in Africa. Africa is the breadbasket of the world. Whoever controls Africa in the 21st century controls the world. Africa has the youngest population of any continent. Africa has more resources than any continent. Gold, silver, cobalt, lithium, name it, is in Africa. Africa has the developing the technology, and now Africa are developing leaders who will fight back. The president of Senegal, one of his first initiatives was to say, the French, we don't want you there and they want you here any longer. The president of Mali, what did he say? We don't need any European interest in our space any longer. And the greatest one is the president of Burkina Faso, President Ibrahim Traoré, which has basically stated that we are going to do things our way. We don't need your handouts, and we don't want you. And also, we cannot forget the growing movement in South Africa, where the South Africans have automatically stated that we're with our friends, the Chinese and the Russians and others who have our interests. We don't want and we don't need America any longer. Even when Trump tried to embarrass and tried to give a blind punch to the president of South Africa when he is visiting the Oval Office, saying that the South Africans are practicing genocide against whites. So the United States right now, they're in a mess. And they're in a mess because they don't know what to do. They see their power dwindling, completely dwindling. So now what we have Israel against Iran. Now, what does this mean? Israel is nothing more than the gun for America. What do you mean that? Israel, yes, is bombastic in its language, arrogant in its directives, ugly in its rule, and racist to its core. That's what Israel is. We see that it has an apartheid state within its own country in reference to the Palestinians and Arabs and even Africans and Indians who live there. All right? So we have that taking place. Now, what is going on with Israel and why the United States is using Israel and why Israel is using the United States? First of all, Israel, for the last 25 years, have wanted to expand, maybe 30 years longer. They want to expand. And they wanted to find a way to enact this expansion by force. So over the last several years, they have created a dynamic of war. All right? What was the major war that we're talking about now? Well, remember Desert Storm in Iraq in the 1980s and 1990s? That was inspired by Israel. Israel says Saddam Hussein was days away from a nuclear weapon. Remember that? And that they had our brother, General Powell, believe in the lies, and they gave him faulty information, whereby he is saying that, oh, yes, I have documentation. We have satellites, images of where these nuclear sites are being built. So Israel, the United States, allowed Israel to influence it. And what happened? They went into a war. Did they ever find any nuclear weapons? No, not at all. What happened there? Well over 10,000 American troops were killed, even though the official line is 4,800. We know that it's more than that because many of them died when they came home from other injuries, and some of them committed suicide. That's part of the death of the conflict. What did we have again? We had over 1 million Iraqis being killed brutally by American forces, Israeli forces, and a coalition from the G7. Now, let me back up a little bit. Who are the G7? The G7 is the nucleus American and European hegemony. The G7 is made up of the United States, Canada, France, Belgium, Italy, Germany, Japan, out of all places, all right, and a couple of others. And they want to have American and G7 hegemony so they can control parts of the world for their own influence. So did they ever find weapons of mass destruction? No, they did not. So what happened later on? The president or the prime minister of UK said, well, I'm sorry, we didn't find it, but it was good that we got rid of Hussein anyway. Then let's go back a little bit. Let's go back a little bit farther up, coming towards the 21st century. Well, what happened? The United States also wanted to undermine who? Libya. They saw Libya as being a war against hegemony. Libya, an African Arab country, a country that I know very well, a man that I respected, and I also knew. One of the few people in the country who actually knew the man, talked to the man, and was excited by what he was doing in that country. He took Libya from being one of the poorest countries in Africa to becoming the wealthiest nation in Africa. Listen to me carefully. The wealthiest nation. And this is during the time when Botha was running an economically strong and solid state in South Africa under the concept of apartheid. When I went to Libya the first time, I was amazed. I saw more Mercedes there than I saw in Germany. I didn't see no homelessness. Everyone had a home or a condominium. Everyone had a job. If they couldn't find a job, he paid them. Colonel Gaddafi paid them how much the salary of that position until they found a job. And we're talking about so-called bad socialism? Not there. Because all the money he invested for the people through the oil exchange, every citizen got some of that money back. It went directly into stocks, into their bank account.
Healthcare was free.
Education
was free.
was free. All right? It was a tremendous and clean place. But what happened? The United States wanted to undermine it. Just like Walter Rodney stated in the book, how Europe underdeveloped Africa. They wanted it underdeveloped so they could put in their leadership and get their resources. And now look at Libya. It's nothing but a hellish looking state, a place that no one wants to go to any longer. At one time, it was the crown of North Africa. So now we go back into Israel again. I just deviated a little bit. So now we have this war getting ready to take place. And the United States and Israel are bombing this country. What are they saying? They're saying, well, now Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, has just said a few hours ago that, Iran is just hours away from having a nuclear weapon. And this is dangerous. Then he went on to state that our fight against Iran is just not ours, it's the Americans too, because they want you dead. So he's trying to create this emotional attachment that we as Americans have a stake in that. Now, then on top of that, he's putting this dynamic within the Black community. The Blacks, you have to fight for this too, because you're Christian and we're part of the whole of the same structure, Jews and Christians. Interesting thing. But what does it really mean? Is that right now we have between 60 and 70,000 American troops throughout the Middle East. 60 to 70,000. And guess what, Brother Lance? over 75% of them are black. And also, don't get fooled into believing that, oh, well, they're well covered because it's a military base. They have no air coverage. Now, if you know anything about military, you know that every military ground troop or operation has to have air coverage. They don't have any of them on those bases. So therefore, they have tanks and they have little rocket ships, little guns to shoot, which means that they are there to be slaughtered. Now, how do you mean by this? It means this, that the United States and Israel know very well that if the United States get into a conflict with Israel, and they are, that Iran only has one move to make for their survival, and that's to go after those military bases. There's over 20 of them, and they have the power to blow every one of them up. And believe me, if you don't want to believe me, that's okay. But when that happens, it's going to be your black boys and girls coming home in body bags. They're not telling you that. And that's the real issue. You people forget that the majority of the American military are made up of black people. When blacks from Haiti come in and Jamaicans come in and they want to get their papers, they join the military. Black men can't find any jobs, they go to the military. Black girls thinking that they can move up in society, they go to the military. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. So that's what it means. Now, so we're going to be cannon fire. We're sitting ducks there. And the war is getting ready to take place. Now, what does it mean to the other parts of the black diaspora? Let's take the blacks in the Caribbean. Right now, many of the African nations, and I say black nations or African nations in the Caribbean, Jamaica and so forth, they're lining up with Africa. The African leaders, and there's only one country, maybe two, in Africa that is on the side of Israel. All the other ones said, no, if you attack Israel, you got to attack us. We're aligning with Israel. We're aligning with China. We're aligning with Russia. Well, the Caribbean is the same way. I mean, don't think about the fact Jamaica has just established flights to Nigeria for the first time. Jamaicans and other Caribbean people from Antigua and others are running to Burkina Faso. And here, check it out. The strongest country in the Caribbean, which is Cuba, they have now just opened up more military bases there with nuclear sites. And Russia has just aligned more submarines off the coast of America. This thing is going to get hot. So when the Africans in the Caribbean show that they're lining up with the Africans against Israel, the United States is going to go after them. Now remember, during the Biden administration, just a few months ago, he stated that he was going to deport diplomats from Jamaica because Jamaica was not following the dictates that he wanted. And President Trump has continued that policy. You must understand, there's no difference between the Republican and Democratic parties when it comes down to the concept of hegemony, because they both want control and they both will fight and die for that control. Now, what about South America? That's what's taken there. Remember, don't get fooled by the light-skinned Hispanics you see coming here. Most of Latin America, like in Central America, In Brazil, they're dark people like you and I. And I'm not talking about light-skinned dark people. I'm talking about some black people who look darker than midnight, i.e. the president of Colombia, vice president. Well, President Lula of Brazil, a man that I know, his home is the place where I lived in Bahia, Salvador. Man, I knew. He already stated that we're lining up with the Africans. And that is a country just as big as the United States. It doesn't take them much time to mobilize. The only country in South Africa that is lining up, South America that's lining up with Israel is Argentina. Everything else is not. What will the United States do? They will try to undermine them. Right now, the United States is trying to create a conflict between Guyana and Venezuela, all right, over disputed territory between the two countries. And the UK and the United States has already built a base there. But the base is not really about the territory. It's about being able to unleash military might to any country in South America that goes against their interests. Now, keep in mind, I'm going to tell you something, Lance, which most of the politicians won't tell you because they don't know a damn thing. There's something called the Platt Amendment. The Platt Amendment was developed in the early 20th century, around 1917, somewhere around there. And the Platt Amendment was essentially used for the Caribbean and South America. It stated that the United States has the right to intervene in any country whereby our interest is at stake. All right, listen to that again. You can check it out for yourself. The Platt Amendment, Platt. They can intervene anywhere. They utilize the Caribbean and Cuba as an example, but it means anywhere. And they still utilize it. This is deep stuff. Which means that we're on the verge of a major conflict because America feels as if their interest, economic interest, via BRICS is at stake. Their interest, resources interests in Africa is at stake. Their political interest throughout the world, being able to tell people what to do and how to do it, is at stake. So therefore, they're going to use every means that they have left to fight, to corrupt, and to kill. Now, this is very interesting. Now what happens now? If the United States, if this war breaks out even more, and it is, what happens? What did Trump state this morning? All right, yesterday rather, he left the G7 meeting that was in Canada. He left early. You know what he said, Brother Lance? He stated, one, that people in Iran should evacuate. Secondly, their president, Khamenei, should be assassinated. Our president talking about another president should be assassinated. Deep stuff. All right. Now, let's suppose, and then he said that Israel, all the G7 stated that Israel has a right to what? Self-defense. Now, in on that line, he also stated that if you talk about Israel, you're being anti-Semitic. Well, I don't give a damn, because I'm going to speak the truth. Right? So we have this going on. This is some serious stuff. So if Israel gets into this conflict and they bomb Iran. Now note, Israel can't beat Iran. Why not? I'll tell you why. One, the drones that they are sending over to Israel are weapons that are really discarded. They're getting through the Iron Dome, but they're getting Israel to utilize their anti-missile weapons. It just came out of the news a few minutes ago, Lance, that Israel just have enough weapons to last another 10 to 15 days. Iran has enough weapons to last 10 years. Check that out. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Then they also stated that tonight, Iran said, we got a surprise for it. Now, the United States, no one told you that the United States has been utilizing this military to shoot down their drones. But Iran is just waiting. All right. When they have no more weapons, and remember, their weapons in the United States, we're almost depleted too. Because we've been giving most of our weapons to where? Ukraine. And our industrial might has not been replacing those weapons very quickly. So we're talking about some heavy stuff. Now, what about the Africans and African Americans in this? The question is now, where do we stand on this issue? Now, Al Sharpton and the leadership hasn't said nothing about it because they're in the pocket of the Israelis. The Congressional Black Caucus in the pockets of the Israelis, Jeffrey Hackins and all these other people.
Tell it.
Black mayors, black counsel, black lawyers in the hip pocket of the Israelis, by directly or indirectly. All right? And they're going to push an agenda that is the duty of the African American to support this conflict and to die for this conflict. Listen very carefully. And that is what's taking place right now, very carefully, very creatively. They've been very creative about this. So while everyone is marching against Trump and they're celebrating Pride Month now, Pride Month and Juneteenth time, right? The real issue is taking place with the Third World War about to take place. All right? All this stuff about the Sudan, that's secondary right now because this thing is about to jump off and we're going to be in the middle of it, and percentagely, we're going to beat them up. We're going to have the highest casualty rate. Just like in Iraq. They don't say that we had the highest casualty rate of any ethnic group, Black Americans and other Blacks who came to the United States to get green papers, and they joined the army to do this. So it's just a warning, and I'm sad to say this, but things are not looking good. So we have to be wise. They don't want you to look about this. They want you to look at the Didi trial, to see what type of freakish behavior that the Black elite like to have. If you like freaky deaky, you could just go turn on a porn movie and you see all the freaky deaky you want. That's your thing. Right. I mean, you have the right to do that. They want you to get all excited about marching up and down the street, destroying the leather of your shoes to protest this whole thing, no more kings. You're stupid. You should be protesting no more hegemony. All right? Got you caught up in this mess. All right? Distraction. They have you walking around talking about, oh my God, the DEI. All right? So you're all upset with that while this is about ready to jump off that makes that issue look very, very small. I see someone said getting scared. Yes, every African American need to have a passport to another country. You have a number of countries like Burkina Faso, Brazil, Panama, Jamaica, uh, 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 um, Tanzania, Uganda, South Africa, Namibia. They're crying for African Americans to come. Go there. All right? Go there. You don't Accra where, go to Accra and Ghana where Lance is. He'd love to have some neighbors. All right? But if you're smart, you will have another passport and get citizenship in another country. Mine's already there. All right? Got Brazil and Senegal. So, you need to start doing these things. I see a person says Dominican Republic. Absolutely. Okay? We got some issues over there with the Haitians. And we're having some conflicts, but that can be handled too. That's right. I mean, and I'll tell you something. They have many of our people believing that they can't go any place. They have our people believing that, well, if you go to the African country, black people, African, going to treat you badly. Well, I don't know about that, but if nobody can treat you any worse than the Europeans over here. So
look there, brother.
Yeah. So in a few weeks,
it says Ghanaian.
Ghanaian. That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. I wish I had that one, but God bless you and follow. In a couple of weeks, Lance, I will be in Rio de Janeiro, and I will be talking from there because I'm going to the BRICS conference. And I'm going to broadcast and let the readers, the listeners, know what is taking place.
Please do.
What our family is doing, and what is taking place on the platform that's fighting against this hegemony. This hegemony that's destroying not only us inside the United States, but the world. And that's why the world is fighting back. And that is why, brothers and sisters who are listening to me, start learning about BRICS, follow about what is taking place with Iran. And no, let me tell you something about Iran. Iran, they try to say it's a crazy Muslim country. They are a Shiite Muslim country. And this is very important. The Shiites follow a man by the name of Hussein, the grandson of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings upon him. And they argue that their deen, which means their laws, require them to fight against oppression. Now, you may say, well, what does that have to do with anything? The Sunnis overwhelmingly are more passive. They're willing to negotiate. They're willing to bend the rules for appeasement, not the Shiites. Now, the Shiites have been very, very connected to the black cause. How is that? Well, you ever heard of a group called the Nation of Islam and Elijah Muhammad? It was the Shiites under Khomeini who gave them money and assistance. It was the Shiites who embraced the concept of liberation theology within Islam in reference to the African American community. It's the Shiites who's not building masjids in Africa, but they're building industrial plants. That's something completely different. So they don't want you to connect with the Shiites because the Shiites preaches an ideology that says it's good to pray, but it's better to fight for what is right. And if it means dying for your belief, you die. If it means killing for your belief, you do so. And that's very threatening towards the hegemony. And also remember this, it was the Shiites who helped to finance Nelson Mandela's movement in South Africa. Them Iran, as well as Gaddafi in Iraq. I mean, in Libya. We don't know these histories. We just get followed by something else. You have any questions?
Well, wow. You gave
I know
us.
some things, but you have any questions in a line? I'm willing to answer them or try.
Yes, and let me put out a link for anybody who wants to come in and say anything directly. And I would suggest that you do, because we have a well-learned scholar, well-traveled. He's not gonna beat his chest or blow his own horn, but this is walking, talking history right here. And anything you want to ask, you hit that link or make a statement. You come on in, and there are questions, because a lot has been held away from us with the propaganda and the tomfoolery that's pushed down our throats with the media that's controlled by those over there with the small hats.
I mean, the reality of it, yeah, the reality of it is that the American people as a group are tired. They're tired of supporting Israel. They're tired of sending trillions of dollars. All right, in support. Americans as a group are saying that, what are we getting for our money? But the group that's very interesting, that is somehow still connected to the Israeli story, is that Black Christian group. See, they push this ideology that to support Israel means that you're closer to God. That's a slave mentality. All right. If you like Jews, you like God's people. How does that sound? You sound like a damn fool. All right. You're the first people on the face of the earth, and you're saying that somebody else is God's people. That makes you a schizophrenic person.
Tell it.
In a bipolar community. That means you cannot critique them or say anything. Americans are tired of that. Black people got to get there too. All right? Which means that we have to fight our own interests. And so in this light, we should be the first ones to say that if we're going to march, I don't believe in marching, but if you're going to march, say, march, we're against this coming war. If you're going to do something, march and say that we will not support this. All right? How do you do it? Shut things down in your own way.
A question here. NFN Shaka said, my question is, us as melanated people, are we creating this reality of distraction to bring on a new reality?
That's a very interesting question. Are we creating this reality of distraction? I think we're following the brother who did that. That's a deep question. The person who wrote this question, they're seeing something, and they're seeing that the distraction. All right, I don't think we're creating it, but it's being allowed. Now the question is that will a new reality for us come into existence that's going to be beneficial? There are two elements of this reality. A reality that, one, American hegemony continues and we continue to be the underpinnings of this society, and that we continue to be lapdogs and apologists for what has taken place out of Washington. Or are we going to be true liberators? Not verbiage. You know, everybody wants to say Malcolm X, any means necessary, rah, rah, rah. You know, everybody want to say now, I'm down with your Minister Farrakhan. Yeah, he's my man. He's 95 years old or something now. Now you say he's your man. I'm down with Malcolm. All of the stuff. The time is not to be down with historical figures, because a dead man cannot lead your liberation. It's to be on the front now, where you have people, organizations, and countries that are creating a global revolutionary reality. It don't always have to be a hot war. It can be a war of movement. For example, look at this. Look at this, Lance. Let's suppose the global South. Let's suppose 80% of the global South in Asia, Africa, South America, the Caribbean decides to boycott America until America changes policies. Let's suppose 80% of them put sanctions on Israel. That's the reality there. Things will change.
Mm-hmm.
See, things can absolutely change at that light. The question is, Shaka, do we have the guts? Do we have the backbone? Do we have the integrity to follow this reality for our interest and for our liberation? That's the question. All right. And this is going to have to be done not by words, but by action. You cannot be a YouTube revolutionary. That got to happen. All right. What is this when you apply for a passport?
Yeah, the question was asked, is there a way to express process a passport? And Sweetberry
Sure.
had given an answer.
Yeah, you can. First of all, if you want a passport like for next week or something, you have to show the itinerary that you're leaving the country at this particular date very quickly, and you got to have it. All right. You can do that, and secondly, you can walk it through. You can walk it through in places as Philadelphia, New Orleans, Chicago, Los Angeles. All right. And I also believe not in Miami, but New Orleans, a few places. So therefore, you can walk it through. You can go in the morning, do your paperwork, and have it by that night or at least the next day. But you have to show in an itinerary that you have your ticket. At least you have this the reservation that you have to leave. And have to leave in a couple of days. And that also goes with your visa to the particular country. Now, a lot of countries you can get visa on arrival. A lot of countries can do that. So don't let that change you. Your mind have to. I don't know who stated that question. It's a good question. You just have to determine where you want to go, and
right.
your bank account will always follow you, and have a good life. There's a young man the other day. He goes to the masjid that I go to, and he got into a little issue here, and he spent his time. I helped to get his papers ready, and he said, "Doc, I need to get out of here." So I said, "Okay." And after a year of being out from jail, guess where he's at now? He's living in the Gambia.
Wow.
All right. He's living, he wrote me, he said, "I've never been so free in my life." And brothers and sisters, freedom doesn't mean that you have to go to the Gambia or Senegal and get the big Mercedes and the beautiful car and a big house. I know a lot of people get the big houses. Freedom means this: being able to be among your own people, being able to live and to function in your own way. We never had that. You see, to say that this is really ours. Of course, we're born here and we put money into the system. But so many of us still feel as if we are outsiders, that we're only tolerated. But when you go into your own area, and you could tell it, Lance, you breathe your own air.
Yes.
It's a refreshing feeling. You walk down the street and see people looking like you. It's a refreshing feeling. All right. Does it mean that life is easy? No. Life in Africa can be very hard as in any Caribbean country or South American country. But
Mhm.
within the hardship comes ease. And it becomes exciting
Yes.
and loving. All right. And you embrace it because you know that this is the place of your ancestry. You know.
Yes.
I mean, one thing I have to
It's a
say
wonderful
about
feeling.
one thing I have to say about the Jews in this country, they have a policy that every young Jew that goes through certain systems must go to Israel for at least 2 years. And you know what that means? That means they embrace that culture, they embrace the vision of that society, and they become stockholders to that community.
Mhm.
We too must develop that to become stockholders to Africa, the Caribbean, and countries of our people in South America. Very good question. If anybody ever wants to um, reach me, have more questions about passport issues, I worked with the State Department for a number of years as well as a consultant. You can always reach me at info@nohegemony.org. No hegemony HEGEMONY.org. Info@nohegemony.org. And my telephone number at this particular office is 321-320-5373. 321-320-5373. And if you didn't take anything, if you could take one thing from what I said this evening, and that is read about what's taking place with this war. And let me tell you something, one last thing. If this third world war come, and it's going to come, America will not be protected by the Pacific or the Atlantic Oceans. Will not. As other countries and other societies have seen missiles fly over their heads, we're going to see the same thing. And all those little guns you have, thinking they're going to do some damage, is going to be worthless for the most part. I would tell all of you all right now to get a map, put a map in your car. Forget about the GPS because do you know right now if Russia has some stuff and China has even more things in the satellites that can block satellite reception of other countries. They can
Mhm.
block the GPS. They have laser beams that can do this. America is so far behind the pack on this is not even funny. So therefore, you better learn how to read a map again. You better learn how to eat food from the plants and the dirt again. You better learn survival techniques. You should have, in my car, I have food packed up. I change it every couple of months in my car. Clothing. My family and I, we're ready to go. We have places that we already set up where we're going to go if we get stuck in the United States. All right. You gotta be thinking for real. If
Ham
you
radio.
if you live in the city of Chicago, something happened, they're gonna close down Jewel's grocery store. If something happens in Florida, Publix is gonna be closed down. If something happens in North Carolina, there's not gonna be no more AMP store. All right.
Right.
You better learn how to read that map, learn how to use that compass, learn how to go 2 or 3 or 4 days without any food, exercise. All right. Find a way to use the earth for medicine. You may run out of that diabetes medicine. All right. You better get yourself together because it's happening. All right. And you better start doing it now because while this happening, and you think you're going to go to church and say, "Oh God, help me." He'll help you, but you better do something about helping yourself. So anyway,
Right.
I want to thank you for allowing me. I want to come back and talk more about this. Um, Brother Clark, you were Google Maps before Google Maps. Let's talk
Yeah,
about you.
we go back to teenage years, me and
Oh, yeah.
Kevin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I
If the,
remember that's why you was in New York. And in New York, you didn't
right,
have all these stuff. Where do you live?
no,
You live between such and such a street, you know,
right.
you know, like that. How many blocks? You
Wow.
take five, you go through five stoplights and make a right, you see something. That's it.
Right. Wow. Sorry to hear that, Patricia.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Glad you're getting through it, though. I know it takes time.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a different world we live in. We've been very much deceived by these movies. It molds our thinking. It golds us into a certain mentality. And if you ask 10 people, you'll get 12 different responses on different things. They can't put the pieces together like you have, brother. You've traveled so many countries.
Yeah.
If there's one person that may have traveled more than you, it was Minister Ahmad, and you're closing in on him. Trust me,
Well,
as young as you are.
I thank God for being able to travel, but more so, thank God to be able to meet so many people, understand plights. My travel has helped me to help other people. There have in Malaysia, um, a um, a library has been named after me, Brother Lance.
Really?
Yeah, in Malaysia.
You get you got to take a picture.
I will take a picture. And what has happened is that over the last several years, I've been giving help to this village. I buy cows and sheep and farmland. Literally through my work, I'm feeding about 1,000 people or more.
Wow.
You see, every
Wow.
year, maybe more now. And I don't have much money. I drive an old used car, old 2015 Cadillac that has some scratches on it.
But
You
but
know,
the thing is, brother, you're so
Mhm.
loved all over the world. There's so many households that you can just go knock on the door and they'll let you in. They'll give you the keys to
Absolutely.
their car
Yeah,
and they'll give you a place to sleep and not tell you there's a time limit. That's
that's right.
wealth. You know how many
And
countries you're loved in? See, again, you have to write a biography. You have to on your
yeah,
life. You have to leave that with us because your name, look, you've done way more to be known, right? Without the internet. I read your literature, your books before I even met you.
yeah,
And that was back in 2012. We connected. We talked about doing a show that first day that we met. And we did
absolutely,
with Brother
absolutely.
Akbar.
That's right.
Raised me like family, had me places, invited places. So I'm privileged, brother. You and Brother
Well,
Malik,
yeah,
can't go
Malik
wrong.
and I go back many, many years, and so
Yeah.
so with this, I help families all over the world. Tanzania, I serve communities, giving food and money there. Ghana, not Ghana, but Senegal, I
Mm-hmm.
do that a lot. Haiti, um, I just helps a family escape from Haiti.
Wow.
They're now in Rio de Janeiro. All right, and Haiti is going through a terrible thing right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of good things. But anyway, I just want to get people to remember to
Yes.
uh, to get this little book.
Hold it up.
I don't. Do you
We don't
see it?
see it too good because you have the background thing on it. But
Well, you can put it up. You can put it
see
up
what
yourself.
I can do.
Yeah,
Let me see what I can do. Just give me a moment. I know what to do, brother.
yeah.
Give me a second. I'm going to pull it down. I just got to open up WhatsApp on the computer because when I sent you the banner, it has the book cover on it. So let's see.
And tonight, stay tuned to the news out of Iran, because there's speculation that Iran is going to do something so devastating that is going to really cripple the Israelis.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. Wow. Also, when we do look at these other platforms, talk to the people directly in the chat rooms from those countries. They'll give you better than what CNN, headline news, Fox News would give you, because you're talking directly to the people. You know,
Mhm.
For those who want to tool around and go a little deeper, the chat rooms, the message boards, talk to the real people there. Pull up Google Maps and look at the areas that they live in and find out. Oh, the name of the book, Blacklisted. Blacklisted.
The price for speaking truth.
Yes. Okay, let's see if I can pull this down. I think it's buffering like crazy. Yeah, let me get a link. Let me grab a link. Let me grab a link that's to pull it up. Okay. Let me copy this link and drop it in the room. So you can click on, that's the Amazon link right there.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find it.
No,
Barnes and
I
Noble.
forgot to mention, while you're doing that, do you readers really understand that Israel, how many nuclear weapons Israel has? They have anywhere between 150 and 400.
Hmm.
Now you're talking about a country not even the size of New Jersey.
Right. Wow.
In fact, they're the biggest threat to peace in the world, them and the United States.
Mm.
And I would tell my African brothers who are leaders, if you're thinking about getting nuclear weapons, well, go ahead and do so, because it's going to be your only defense. It's a deterrent. Remember Libya, right? And Gaddafi was building that.
Oh
And
man.
they influenced him not to. They took him off the terrorist watch list. He had free reign for 1 year, because I was the middleman. I was the middleman for the Israeli government. I mean, for the Libyan government in the United States, and they took him out. Here's another thing people don't realize: under both in South Africa, when it was an apartheid state, guess what? They had nuclear weapons. Nelson Mandela came in. They forced them to dismantle all their nuclear weapons. Here's another thing. The first country to really build nuclear weapons in in Africa, or to focus on it, was Ghana in the early 1960s. Kwame Nkrumah. He is being aided by the Soviets, and he is a good friend to President Nasser of Egypt. And he is building a nuclear silo. All right, if the silos is still there outside of Accra. All right, I don't know if you have seen them. They're still there. And what happened there? They undermined his government, staged the coup, and they try to destroy every historical element of Nkrumah.
Yeah.
You know, and Nkrumah studied at Lincoln University in Pennsylvania, black school. All right, and used to hang out in Harlem with the intellectuals.
So he really got the real education.
And actually, he schooled Martin Luther King in 1958 when he was there.
Wow.
King visited Ghana, 1958. He schooled him because King didn't know nothing about it. King didn't know anything about geopolitics. His concept of geopolitics at the time was Mahatma Gandhi. And he really didn't understand Mahatma Gandhi, because Mahatma Gandhi showed elements of racism when he was in South Africa.
Yeah.
People forget that. He didn't want to hang out with South Africa.
Wow.
So he went on home. You see, people forget those stories, but you know, as a truth terrorist, I don't forget nothing.
I
All
know,
right,
brother.
good. But listen, I'm going to go, and
Yes.
again, Kevin and what's the person's name has an African name?
Oh, NFN Shaka.
And Shaka, great name, South African name.
Mm-hmm.
I love the Zulus. I love Zulus.
You got Sweet Berry
And
here.
yeah,
Diane,
so
Patricia, Chance.
yeah. And if
Maul,
they right. And anyone who
Cato.
sells, anyone who buys the book or off the line, you know, they can contact me, and I will send them a nice letter of thank you and the
Sure.
importance
Yeah.
of it. All right. Um,
Wow.
we thank people. You know, that's what we have to do. We're all one family, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're all one family, and we have to help each other. I want to tell brothers, support each other, help each other,
That's it.
help each other, love each other. It's only us. All right, Brother Lance, may God forever protect you
Thank you, brother.
and keep you whole. And again, we thank you for what you do. You are a true um, you are a true leader and a hero in our time. Without you, many of us would not know anything or much about West Africa. You are
Wow.
America's best ambassador, and you are Africa's best ambassador.
Thank you.
So continue to do what you do. And for your readers, you know, Lance don't have a lot of money. So you all need to send money to him. Help him out.
Hey,
Subscribe.
I'm right here doing it. Just
Huh?
like we would sit. Let's bring a little nostalgia here. I always pull this up every now and then.
Yeah.
Here I can pull it up again. That's us in that little bedroom.
Oh man. High
Yeah.
heels.
You had to turn sideways to get around that big table. I'm on that
Yeah,
same very
yeah.
table right now. You know something?
Well,
Got the yellow stripes going on, waiting for you, brother.
still got
So
the
we got
yellow
some good stone
stripes.
here. This is stone wall.
Yeah, we still got the ball head going,
Oh yeah.
you know.
And in front of me, it's huge. It's not a tiny room anymore, man. You can give
No,
a
man.
lecture in this place.
I mean, you had the Black House in West Africa. I can't wait to see it.
Oh
All
yeah.
right. So listen, may God bless you and thank you again.
Thank you, brother.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Good night. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I'm just so glad that we had this time that Brother White has so graciously shared, and the knowledge, pound for pound, pound for pound. Let me tell you something. You got so much knowledge tonight. When you hit the restroom and you turn around, you're going to see knowledge. Okay? But these are the kind of shows we have to have. And it was divine order that I had a chance to connect with Brother White, Brother Vibrant. He's been to my house countless times in Orlando, and he will be here one day soon, sitting next to me in this studio. And we're going to chop it up real good. You know, sometimes you just don't know people that you cross paths with. You think it might be brief, but then you realize you have a lifelong friend and brother, just like my brother Kevin inside the chat room, and just like everybody else here, on one degree more or others. But Kevin, if they ever write a book about me, you can't complete the book without consulting with him, because he knows the good, the bad, the ugly, the dirty, dark secrets, things that funny stuff. I wish he'd come on sometime and tell some of my little crazy stories or whatnot. But then you realize you're blessed them how much money you do have and how much you don't have. The quality of people that have around you that makes you feel wealthy. And I feel like one of the most wealthiest men in the world, where I can pick up the phone and call any one of you or a person like Dr. White anytime. Even Brother Malik and so many countless others, some who have passed on, Brother Holla, Michael Hamer. I mean, and to a lesser degree, which is not lesser, but people who haven't been on as much. But I remember Michael Hamer calling me up and saying, hey, brother, you want to do something? I said, yeah, man, let's do it out in the street so we have some good background. Either the studio or outside. And we did. And I've located a lot of those because a lot of those were taken down on the old channel. But I'm going to get those back up. I've just been doing a lot, salvaging stuff and compiling stuff. So, the talks with the Holla, even Brother Cosmo, we talked so much. And then we had that unfortunate incident in July of 2016. And some of our conversations, they were out of this world. I wish the private conversations that we had for months, I recorded. But, I don't sneak record anybody. But in that case, I wish I did, because the enlightenment that he had to be so young in his late 20s was phenomenal. So this is what I like to do. People know I like to talk, but I like to entertain, but I like to get that knowledge in there also. I do this. This is why I set it up here like that. You can see from many, many years ago when me and Brother Vibrant were in the studio there. And sometimes up late at night, Mr. Scurv would cook some food, we'd eat, and we'd vibe on. Even doing stuff at different events. I lost a lot of that stuff, but you all remember who remember. So don't let the low numbers fool you. We've been out for the same way. And this is why I say to always go to lancescurvx.com and join over there, because everything that I do here, I'm uploading there. Just a quick little message and note on how things happened. When the channel got taken down last year, a lot of the old stuff was taken down. So doing these shows now, I always upload everything over to LanceScurvX, and they have their own server. So if YouTube takes all of the stuff down, they can't touch that stuff there, right? They could touch it on LanceScurv because I had the embedded, but I have this up on the servers at LanceScurvX. You see what I mean? So don't let the name confuse you. It's the same old product, same old place to go to, except we're redirecting everything there. But also, I think I have to give a message to Sweet D. If this is the same song, it's Throne by Blue Steel. Throne by Blue Steel. Yeah, like I said, if you shoot me an email, the song I'm going to play next, everybody loves it. Just let me know and I can shoot you an MP3. No problem. It's all love. Anyway, we're going to get ready to get on out of here. I'm going to get in the bed early, even though it's 1:21. Let me tell you something. I'm way up in the mountains and these roads are dark at night. If I chose to take a walk out there and go up to the village up top, I know I'm completely safe. I have friends of mine, even my brother Kevin here. I put it on the screen. He said, oh my God, it's dark. But it's nothing. It's a whole different vibe out here, and I sleep deep. I know in about an hour from now, I'll be knocked out. Anyway, much love to you all. Take care. And we're going to rock on some music a little bit. All right. Peace.
the stress to the head. I'm tryna do more for the soul, way less for the bread. Yes sir, I take pack to the lung, kill the stress to the head. I see the things that they do way less than they say. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Can't be a real, might get you canceled. The whole system need to dismantle. Coppers treated like the utmost wanted. Tryna rule the block but don't know what goes on it. News got a story with a new take on me. Carrying out the window with the screw face on me. But I know that God love me when my burn 95 degrees and I can't get sunburn. Wonder when your government don't make me legal. Burn the whole city if I can't be equal. Get off my please, Brad, I earned that. 400 years, how you still ain't learned that? I take pack to the lung, kill the stress to the head. I'm tryna do more for the soul, way less for the bread. Yes sir, I take pack to the lung, kill the stress to the head. I see the things that they do way less than they say. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Shout out to the trying to gentrify the genre. Tell them free my middle finger to your honor. End of days coming down to seconds on the timer. Goofy still trying to purchase that designer. About to buy, learn to grow my own food. Cause I don't like the look they give me in the Whole Foods. And when you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. But it ain't on me now, I'm limping cause my heavy. But ain't sweet, think we thin. My whole attitude on MC Ren. It's my neighborhood now, Bob, I bought that. 400 years, how you still ain't caught that? I take pack to the lung, kill the stress to the head. I'm tryna do more for the soul, way less for the bread. Yes sir, I take pack to the lung, kill the stress to the head. I see the things that they do way less than they say. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out.
So, hello, this is Martha. Actually, today I got to meet my friend Lance. Yes, I got to meet my friend Lance. This is my first time meeting him in person, and he's a very kind man, seriously. I do talk with him on phone, on WhatsApp, but I've never got to meet him. But today, he's just extraordinary. He's very, anything you want to know about life, anything you want to know about just him, anything you want to know about life, please. YouTube, Telegram, Instagram, Twitter, all the social media channels, you got to find him there. He's very inspiring. He's very positive. If you want anything positive about life, please subscribe to Landscape. And then every day you got to see different videos, different talks, different topics about life. See you.